Salutations, Globehead sheeple. I'm back. This is Meta Sheep Slaughterhouse, formerly Mystic Mind Shrine. We've rebranded ourselves now that our favorite card is banned. I'm Dr. Cancer MD, and this is my disgusting creation. So I got 20th place at the Indy Regional with this stun deck, and it was quite a ride. It's not top 8 yet, but it's my first really good regional performance. And I think a lot of people would be interested in seeing the weird spice I came up with. So, starting off with triple Jowgen. You know, I was playing a mono Awato for the longest time, but like the week before the regional, I decided to switch to Jowgen just to see how it would work at locals. And it ended up being a lot better. I was really scared of kaijus, and I was really scared of Fenrir just being summoned and pressuring the field. And yeah, choosing this was the best choice I made all day. This card was amazing. It also has its effect to pop special summon monsters, which does conflict with the Brave Engine, but it still came up a couple times. And the way you protect your Jowgen from getting swung over is by using the adventure equip spells to put it on him so he can't be swung over. So Jowgen worked amazingly as my stun monster. Spicy stuff. Then for the Brave Engine, triple Enchantress. Obviously, this card is crazy. Searches right, summons itself, free body, and then it also can place the field spell face up on your side of the field. Either one of the Brave field spells, although spoiler alert, I only play one. I most definitely use all 3 effects of this card. Sometimes all in the same match. Sometimes, yeah, it was really good. Then I played 1 Griffin and 1 Illegal. I just play 1 of each because this one goes back into the deck to protect himself, so he kind of like Altergeist spoofings himself or personal spoofings himself. So you really only need 1 of them, and you only want 1 too, because these can both brick. And this guy, he doesn't come up that much. This is mostly for if this guy gets killed or if you just need another big body to push. Although I will say his effect to bounce did win me the game against Flunder. It allowed me to completely wipe his board, and the next turn, with like 10 seconds left, I Draco backed him back to hand, summoned him back out, and attacked for game, and won in time because of it. So, Illegal Knight and Griffin, just 1 of each. For the hand traps, I play a lot of hand traps because hand traps are really good. Triple Ash, it's like the best hand trap ever printed. It was crazy all day, obviously. I mean, as long as you know the choke points of your opponent's decks, and I usually do, then Ash is pretty disgusting. The one time I did try to hit a Branded Fusion with this, though, it got cross-outed. I still won the match, but it did get cross-outed, so that was a little weird. And then this is my, like, I guess flex spot you want to call it for hand traps. Triple Veiler. So this was between Shifter, this was between Nibiru. There was pretty much those 2, but I ended up settling on Veiler, and the reason I did that is because most Cashier players are doing Rise Heart Pass from what I've seen. Some of them are still zone locking, but I felt like I didn't want to be sitting with Nib dead in hand, because whether they're zone locking or they're just a Rise Heart passing, Veiler can hurt them either way, whereas Nib will only hurt one of those lines. And then I also just wanted to be able to hit as many decks as possible. It felt like Nib wasn't very good against Branded. It's okay against them. It was not very good against Trap Tricks because of Rafflesia. Veiler's not like crazy against Trap Tricks, but if they start with Pudica, you hit that and keep them off the field spell. And you can hit Sarah to blank both of its abilities, and that actually did come up. I just wanted a hand trap that was the most generic, and I felt like Veiler was more generic than Nib and Shifter, because again, like Cashier doesn't care about Shifter, Sarah doesn't care about Shifter. A lot of decks didn't really care about Shifter right now, so I kind of took that out. Veiler was very insane all day. It actually won me my last match. I Veilered a Bestial Lubellion and then activated right for game. So then I played Triple Gamma 1 Driver. This card's insane. This card's not. I draw this card all day, but it was what it was fine, because Gamma is insane. There's so many points in this deck where you can get hand trapped without having any monsters on field, so you just make Gamma. And then also going second into almost every deck, this card hits something. Like if you Gamma the Trap Tricks normal summon, it's game over. If you Gamma a Unicorn isn't too bad to Gamma. They might have like extension, but it still hurts a lot. Math Mac, this just hits so many things, and it was great all day despite drawing Driver like it's my job. I played Triple Prosp. I was running the budget version with a extra for the longest time, but I was just drawing such horrible draws off of extra that I just said, you know what, screw it. We're going to trade upwards until we get 3 prosperities. And this card is so needed. It makes the consistency in this deck so much better than with extra. This basically counts as a starter because you are mathematically extremely likely to see either a Fateful, a Right, or a Enchantress, and I did all day. So extra or Pot of a Prosperity necessary card. This was hands down the best card in the entire deck all day. I mean, it's literally the centerpiece of the deck, but this can't be like hand trapped. Once I activate this, people are just like, oh, I want to Ash. Oh, no, I can't Ash that because it just places from deck. So if I get this one, I can play through so much stuff. You can Ash the Enchantress, Bell the Enchantress, but when this hits the field, I'm at least going to get the token, and I'm at least going to get the Fateful. You can Ash the Fateful, one of its effects, but I'm still going to get either Equip Spell or the monster. So this card, best card in the deck. This card's insane. I'm surprised this card isn't like banned by now. I was winning just off of Right alone some games. My opponent would be up in card advantage. I'd top deck Right, and then I just win from there because that card's insane. And then triple Fateful. In this deck, it's pure Brave, so you do play 3 Fateful. It's another starter. It's not as good as Right, but in some cases, it's enough. Like, it's usually enough because you at least get this on the field. It's kind of like a Cleveland Scout to be searching every turn. So even if this gets stopped one turn, you will still get to search again the next turn. You can search for Enchantress, throw it in the grave, banish to search. Or if you already have your Right or something, you can search Griffin. And so the other effect to come up is the equipping effect. Equip from deck or search the equip from deck. That is what we're doing to keep Jowgen alive. So I'll get to that in a second. The effect of Fateful to protect an equipped monster, not just a Brave monster, is what keeps Jowgen alive. So, 1 Draco back. Sometimes I want more of this card, but what I realized playing this deck, the #1 strategy to be good with it is just be really, really conservative with your Draco back. Don't ever equip this from deck to the monster on your opponent's turn, because if they out this, that's your only copy and you're screwed. So I've just been really, the more I practice with the deck, the more I realize that I want to hold this Draco back until the very, very last second. I don't want to just shotgun it on the field and then lose it and then be, you know, stranded. So Draco back, got to be very conservative with it, but 1 copy is still all you need. It is a brick. Starlet, Papillon. So this is the one that we're going to be equipping a Jowgen most of the time. It has a really simple effect. It just decreases my opponent's monsters by 500 for each Brave monster, not counting the token. So that doesn't really matter that much. What matters is just getting an extra equip spell on Jowgen, because you don't want to put Draco back on him. You want to put Starlet on him, and then it combines with the field spell. So either of these by themselves is kind of bad, but when you combine them, the field spell makes whatever is equipped with Starlet unaffected by activated card effects. So your opponent can't Imperm Jowgen, they can't Dark Ruler it, they can't really do much of it, they can't Book of Eclipse it, they can't do anything to it. It's completely protected. So when you have those two combined, it can't be destroyed by battle. Like, it's just really hard to out Jowgen. That's like scoop phase once you get to that point in the game. And then the field spell also has an effect where your Brave token destroys a monster by battle, you get to draw a card. So this is really good in grind games. It can be, if you haven't used Prosperity that turn, you can draw another card off of it. It's not the craziest effect, but it does come up. It really does. And then this is kind of a little bit of a flex spot, but not really. Foolish Burial is what I chose. I was between this and Called by the Grave, but I sat down and I was like, what do I care more about? Not getting to a starter or getting hand trapped? And in this deck, I care a lot more about getting to an actual Brave card, and so that's why I chose Foolish. And this is coming from a person who puts Called By as like an auto include in almost all of my decks. I really didn't want to have to cut Called By, but this mattered more in this deck. So it kind of sucks into an Arise Heart because it'll just get banished, but it's an extra starter, and an extra starter is really what this deck needs. So triple Imperm. Imperm's crazy. More copies of Valor, or really it's Valor's and more copies of Imperm, but yeah, everybody knows what Imperm does. Pretty good all day. I played triple copies of Evenly in the main. Yeah, this is starting to get a lot of popularity, but it just cleans up boards. And when you go second against some of these ridiculous boards, a lot of them don't have Omni Negates, so you can just drop Evenly and pretty much, if not completely break the board, it really hurts the follow-up. That's why Evenly is so good, is because it doesn't float when it's banished face down. And you get rid of, like, pretty much every card that they would use to regain momentum in the game. And the last card in the main deck, triple copies of There Can Be Only One. This was also a format call because I knew that there would be a lot of rogue decks, monotype rogue decks like Mathmech and, you know, whatever. It's good against Sprite. It's decent against Cash. They can play around it. The one time I did draw this against Cash Day, it didn't do very well, but he had the hand full of like different type extenders, and he also played the Brave Engine, so it was particularly dead against that specific Cash build. But overall, this card was really good. It was just insane. If they outed Jowgen and I flipped this, they'd be like, oh, well, I guess I still have to deal with basically another Floodgate. So extra deck is mostly Winter Cherries targets and just random stuff that rarely comes up. But one Link Spider, this is for linking off the token if I have to. There's a couple of niche situations where that could come up, and even though I didn't make this card, one of my losses against Ignister Mathmech, I should have made this card. I was trying to play it safe, but I should have played more aggressively, and I should have used this card to make another card in my extra, which I'll show you in a second. Okay, Winter Cherries target, Sarah. This didn't come up, but if you cherries on Sarah, they lose the game. Striker Dragon. Dragon Link actually won the entire event, and I go to the same locals as the guy that won the event. Luckily, I didn't have to play against Dragon Link, but I'm glad I at least respected it because clearly it's still a deck to be feared. One Monk of the Tenyi. If you play against Sword Soul and they start with Tenyis, you have to cherry this. If they start with just Synchros, you'll cherry the other one that I run. You'll see in a second. Jasmine didn't have to play any plants, but if you cherry this, it really does dampen their combos for sure. So this is the card that Scareclaw Tryhard counts as both a Winter Cherries target, and it's also a card I can theoretically make. So I would use Link Spider to link off the token so it counts as an effect monster, so I can make this. He gets over Dragoon. He gets over Kashtira Boss Monster. He gets over a lot of stuff. So yeah, it didn't come up, but it should have. There was a point in which I could have made this to swing the game, and I was a little bit afraid of getting punished by a set card or hand trap or something, so I didn't do it. But I believe I probably would have got the game if I made the Tryhard. Gigantic Sprite for the Sprite matchup. I did Winter Cherries this, and it did win me the match. So I was between this one and Sprind, but this one's a little bit scarier to me. So it worked out for sure. Alimbertion, whatever. That's for the Mathmech matchup. I did not end up drawing cherries against Mathmech, but would have been nice in theory. I was between Arise Heart and Shangri, but they're doing so much Shangri Pass, or Arise Heart Pass, I should say, that I went for Arise Heart. I know that they can put the card back by banishing Theosis, but they have to draw the hand that does that, and if you hit them at the right point in the combo, it won't be easy for them to do that anyway. So I am aware of that. This wasn't supposed to be like the Kryptonite against Cash. It's just supposed to be like, buy me a turn, I guess, or keep them from making this card, because this card does hurt me. I mean, who doesn't this card hurt? So this probably should have been something different. Gigantic Sargass, but I don't know. Spriggans is a good deck. I've seen some Therion decks playing this and some, what do you call it, Traptrix decks playing this. So I was like, whatever, you know, I'll respect it. Throw it in there. Mirajade is the target that I chose for Branded. I probably should have chose the one that lets them do the Gimmick Puppet line. I think like Grand Guganol or whatever, because I did get Gimmick Puppet locked, but I won the game. I got Gimmick Puppet locked anyway, so it is what it is. I did end up cherrying a Mirajade, and just like with Cash, I know that cherrying this isn't like a end-all be-all. They can bring it back next turn, but it keeps them off of it for a turn, and this card will kill me because if it banishes the token, I'm just dead. So I cherried this, it won me the game. It was pretty good, so not much you can say. Nat Beast, luckily I didn't run into any Nichiria Runic, but I can't play under Nat Beast, so would have had to rip that. This is the Sword Soul one that you rip if they start Synchros. It's not perfect, but it does keep them off of the Blackout or the Long Yuan, depending on their hand, so it can be decent to Chariot, especially if you have other hand traps. And then the last two cards in the extra, these are to make off of Gamma if I end up gamming somebody going first. And I'm not sure. No, I did I made an Omega and I ripped a card, and it, I think I still lost the game, but it is what it is. Draco, this one's kind of good for board breaking. He can clean up some board states if your opponent lets you make him. Then we have the side deck, some backer removal, one Duster, double Cosmic. I was debating on Lightning Storm, but I wanted a card that I could also side for going first against like Labyrinth and stuff. So I went with Cosmic. There was a lot of Labyrinth there, but only a couple of them like ended up doing well, and I didn't have to play against a single one. So none of these really came up that much, but I'm glad I respected it because it was definitely in the room. This card was the craziest card in the side deck all day. Imperial Ironwall. Oh my goodness, this card. Flunder did not know what to do under this card. They couldn't activate map. They really just couldn't play the game at all. He tried to evenly me too, and I was like, oh sure, battle phase, sure, man. Go ahead. You can't even activate evenly, but have fun. It was quite hilarious watching the Flunder player kind of squirm under this card. What else did this win me against? This won me a game against Branded. This won me, I think, against Exosister. This card, I pretty much side this for going first into every matchup just because of evenly, Cosmic, stuff like that. Sprite has Smashers. Like, this card was literally the best card in the side deck all day. Every time I got this card up, I won the game. People just can't play through it. It shuts down side cards and it shuts down engine cards. So, Ironwall, absolutely insane. Triple Judgment, not much to say. It's Judgment. Best card ever for going first. I feel like you pretty much need to play this in any deck that loses to evenly, back row hate, whatever. So I wanted more copies of Judgment, so I threw in Double Dark Bribe. I saw this once. I negated, I think, a Lightning Storm with it, so it worked for what it needed to do. I was a little worried about somebody prosperitying and then being stuck, not being able to bribe them, but didn't come up. So I'm not sure if this will be something else, but I just wanted enough. I wanted to see my negates going first so I wouldn't be blown out by evenlies and stuff and Lightning Storms. That was the philosophy, at least. Then for the last cards in the side deck, we got the triple Winter Cherries. As you saw, my extra deck was completely filled with targets for it, and the one Pankratops. Cherries won me 2 matches, hit the Gigantic, hit a Mirror Jade. Other than that, for some reason, I don't draw this card very often. It's like a really good card, but I just don't draw it that much. And then Pankratops, I don't think I drew Pankratops either, but he's good against both front row and back row, and stacking one of, so I didn't want to cut Pank. But yeah, that's the deck profile. Welcome to the channel. We're starting back up under Meta Sheep Slaughterhouse. No longer Mystic Mind Shrine, but we're still going to be bringing the stun content, the cancer content, the rogue content. And you know what? We don't have anything against meta decks. It's just a name. So you might see a meta deck on here, maybe, sometimes. So remember, Chris Hinson is always watching you. Don't be a Globehead sheeple. Gold rare cards are amazing. Yu-Gi-Oh for life.